Hi again. So this morning I'd like to go through a few poses that we use for leg strength, which when I did them I thought great for skiing. You may already have your own exercise routine, you may go to the gym, blah blah blah, you may feel you don't need this, great. But they may be extra just to add to what you're doing in preparation for your ski holidays. So have a look, give them a go and see if they work for you. If they do, pop them into the end of your routine. Thing to remember is this isn't yin yoga. We're doing this for strength work, so we're working on muscles in our legs, so we need to be warm. So make sure you're warmed up, put this in at the end of your exercise routine or running schedule or whatever you do to prepare for your holidays. Let's get going. Okay, first one. It's called Goddess. You may know it as a different name in your exercise routine, but in yoga this is called Goddess. You want to take your feet wider than hip distance apart. You want to turn your heels in the way and your toes out the way as much as is comfortable. The idea here is as we sit down, the knees stay over the ankles so they don't roll in or out. So you want to have your feet at a position, still facing out the way slightly, that you're able to sit down comfortably. If they're too wide, your knees will start to drop in. So it's not about how wide your feet are, it's where your knees are going to go. Okay, so then you want to think about your posture that we've talked about before. Drawing the tummy in makes the undercarriage tuck under a little bit, so it tucks the bottom in. So squeeze the glutes and move the tummy so that the pubic bones and pelvic bones move up towards your tummy button. So it's that pelvic tilt that we're talking about. And then you want to think about your heart and rolling it up and forward. It's all the points we used before in the yin yoga, so if you haven't done them yet, look back on them. And then we want to sit down so that we end up with a sort of tabletop on both thighs here. So straight away you're switching on your quads. You can feel it in your quads. You can probably feel it more centrally in your quads or potentially over towards your knees, depending on how your knees are. Beware the knees should stay above the ankles here. Look down, see what's happening. If your legs are folding in, you need to bring your feet forward a little bit more. And you need to think about drawing the undercarriage forward so that it opens up the inner thighs. So your knees will then move back over your ankles. So switch everything on that you can to draw those knees backwards. Okay, so then we just either stay here. Make sure you can wiggle your toes. Whoops, a little bit of balance work going on here. So it's obviously working really on the inner thighs as well as the quads. So from here, it's about building strength just in this position. So from my skiing lessons, I can always remember them saying have a flexible upper half and a really stable bottom half. So think about that stable bottom half. Maybe use the top half at the same time to do some side stretches or some twists, some folds. Putting a little bit of gravity onto each leg to work on it. You can maybe start thinking about coming up onto the toes on one foot or the other, staying up, building up calf strength, then obviously you'll feel it move into, maybe coming up into both toes, stay a bit balanced that way. So just play with that one, but ultimately it's just about building up the strength through our quads, a little bit in your hamstrings, particularly around your knees. Just watch for those rolling knees. And remember to keep that posture. Right, next one, very much a ski position, this one. So you probably all know squats or chairs as we would know it in yoga. So the other day in the yin one, I did suggest maybe trying this position on the balls of your feet. So you can already feel, we often ski, we don't ski with our feet flat on the floor. So I thought possibly try this one in chair. So heels on the brick, tummies pulled in, zip up that front body, sit down as if you were going to sit in a chair. Keep that long front body, keep the tummy engaged so the bottom tucks under. Keep the bottom tucking back and then see if you can fold forward here at the hip hinges over the front of the thighs. So you'll start to feel that then building, but trying to keep that heart up and the shoulders back together and the chin tucked. And you'll start to feel it in your thighs. So obviously from here you can just hold, or you can start to stand up and down. Be very careful of the knees rolling here. But this is obviously a movement that we do quite often skiing, this bouncing up and down, and This here is an area that you really need to build the strength in, just above your knees as your quads start there. So you can do it on the brick if you feel really strong and powerful today. Come down into chair position. You obviously can do one leg at a time and hold. You can then come into chair position on your toes and hold without the brick there. Try that one. And then obviously you can do the up and down thing, go right down, right back up. So try using whichever one works for you there. So last one for this video. It's just a movement reminded me of skiing. So we often use this, which is called bird in one of our sequences. And essentially we're bending our knees and rolling up and down. So the idea is that as you roll down, you tuck everything and you roll down, bending your knees, and then as you stay down, you tuck your tummy and lift your bottom so that your legs go straight. Now we'd normally do this with legs apart. So if you're comfortable, take them hip width apart. So just try that movement a few times. Be careful on the knees again. Make sure you are warmed up here. So it's just tucking everything, chin, tummy, and rolling down and coming down towards the floor, letting the head drop, and as you do, let the bottom roll up towards that top corner and straighten the back of your legs. So it's just that rolling up and down movement. And then into that you can bring the arms now. So the arms come up above our head. As we come up, you can look up a little bit, put in a little bit of back bend. Watch the bottom doesn't stick out here. So tuck that tummy, roll down through, tuck everything, roll down through, let the legs straighten, take the arms up then behind you as you straighten your legs and lift the arms up behind you. And then roll back down through, bending your knees and back up. So very simple movement, but it very much reminded me of that skiing sensation. Not that ski exactly like this, obviously. And it gets your shoulder working a little bit as well. So imagine you get your ski poles in your hands if you want to. And do a little bit of roll through. Now also while we're here, with that sequence, another one that we do is, we take our legs wide, feet are facing forward. We're going to do a forward fold, wide-legged. I would bring a brick in if you're not used to doing this. If you can touch the floor on a wide leg forward fold, fine. Otherwise, use a brick under your face roughly. You can soften both knees here, feet facing forward as I say, or slightly tucked in. And we're going to think of the hip hinges again and that long front body and fold at the hip hinges, softening the knees if you need to as you fold forward, but keep that crown reaching forward and the bottom reaching back. So make sure the weight doesn't move into the front of your feet. Take your legs, take your bottom backwards so the weight goes into your heels. Fold forward, long front body, until you can either put your right hand on the brick or right hand on the floor, right under your face there. And then all we're going to do is let the knees come with us, soften and straighten whichever way you need to. Twist and open up. So the arm that I'm lifting, the opposite leg, is rolling and straightening. So you'll find that's a really big inner thigh stretch. You're also obviously working on the shoulders here, so getting some shoulder flexibility, which is always good. And it's just doing that as many times as you want to. You can stop and hold if you want. Try and straighten both legs in, but never lock the knees. Bring it back down. As I say, using the brick just brings the floor up to you a little bit more. And it makes it a bit more easeful until you can forward fold a little bit deeper. Do remember to try and keep that long front body feeling there. Okay, just a few little moves that Mike can add to your repertoire in your prep for skiing and build strong legs.